Hey kids, welcome back to Nerd News Breakdown. This is the show where we take all the nerdy stories from the weekend and we break them down. Joining me on this tiny table over here is...
Whitney Moore. Hi, it's me, Whitney Moore. I'm gonna talk about the Prime Minister of Japan's entrance at the Rio Olympics closing ceremony.
And over here...
Hey, what's up? My name's Maude Garrett. I'm gonna talk about an $800 Lord of the Rings / Hobbit box set. That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. Hooray! And I'm Sam Basher, and I want to talk about that internet's reaction to the rumor of Zendaya playing Mary Jane Watson in Spider-Man Homecoming. Maude she wrote a little something in the prompter that I skipped right over. But first up, Whitney, what do you want to talk about?
All right, check it out, guys. So the Prime Minister of Japan comes out of a pipe dressed as Mario at the Olympics closing ceremony to announce, of course, that the 2020 Olympics will be taking place in Tokyo.
I loved it.
It was so adorable, but that's not even the whole thing. They had a whole teaser trailer for Tokyo Olympics, and it included so many other characters like Pac-Man, Hello Kitty, Doraemon,
the
little blue robot cat who's so cute. I thought it was so cool, and I know that there's probably going to be a lot more of that to come. Like, for example, Pikachu was Japan's mascot during the World Cup.
That's so cool.
So I feel like we're probably going to see him. We're probably going to see some Sonic the Hedgehog, doing the 100-yard dash or something.
He'd win.
Oh my God, he's got to go fast. And so my question for you guys and you is, do you guys think this has been the biggest cultural example of video games' impact on the world? Because I remember, this is huge to me, I remember watching the Super Bowl like 2 years ago, and there was a Clash of Clans commercial that had Kate Upton in it, and I was like, wow, video games are mainstream.
She became like the face of that game for a long time after that. Yeah.
Weird.
Was it Clash of Clans or like another God of War?
Clash of Clans got the trailer, it got the commercial, and I think
another one. She got $1 million or something, and the game was making $1 million a day that it was out.
Christ.
Yeah,
that is nuts.
Personally, I thought this was a really weird commercial. I thought if I was watching, I was like, oh come on. But I know but culturally for them, these characters are very important and they have a big impact. Like they're very beloved by everyone. But for me, it was just strange to see the leader of a nation coming out dressed as a cartoon character. And I was like,
I loved it.
Was so cute.
Yeah.
But you make an interesting point, which is that the Olympics aren't very corporate, and like Nintendo is a huge corporation, and so it kind of feels weird.
and because it's representing the whole country.
Yeah.
Do you think Nintendo's paid them to do that? Do you reckon Nintendo's already signed on as a major sponsor and this is just blatant advertising?
I thought there was going to be like a Pokemon Go integration somehow with the Olympics.
It's advertising that I am cool with, to be honest, and it's so ingrained in the culture of Japan. Anime and video games in general, like. It's all there. It's all, stuff people like. I'm cool with it.
I did like that the anime character kicked I think the sphere is supposed to be the dot on the flag, and I like that the anime character like kicked it over to the other players and whatnot, and they had Pac-Man doing punches and whatnot.
I actually think that this is a sign that the Olympics isn't actually hitting with the audience as well anymore. I know that the broadcast wasn't getting stellar ratings at the moment, so I think that this is a way to get the millennials, let's call them, back into the spirit of the Olympics, because it has been going on for over a century now. Video games went around a century ago, but neither were all the sports in the Olympics. So beach volleyball, I think, was introduced in 1996 or something like that. BMX riding was introduced in the 90s as well. So I think this is a sign that like the ancient sports, like I remember watching discus and pole vaulting, and I'm like, what the fuck?
You don't think pole vaulting is cool?
It's so cool, but who does it? Who goes, wow, that's 5 meters in the air. I'm going to use this pole to get up there. Like,
if I could, I would.
Yeah.
I'll be honest.
I mean, when do you go, I'm going to try that for the first time and see how I go? Anyway, that's
You don't know me. That's my life. That's my
true.
life. I
That's
love
not a
doing
conversation.
things like that.
But I think like if Australia was going to hold the Olympics, instead of being like kangaroos again, it'd be kind of cool to say like, wow, we're evolving into like beer.
Yeah.
Or just something
Beer
that's a little bit
drinking
more
Olympics.
marketable, instead of kind of just not growing.
Well, how about this? I have a follow-up question then.
taste
Do you
blood.
guys remember a couple years ago when a bunch of like robotics people in America were like, we're gonna build a fighting robot to fight you, Japan, and then Japan was like, yeah, it's on, dude, let's fucking do it. And I would love to see that as an Olympic sport.
Yes.
If
Fighting
they could
robots.
make new sports such as fighting robots, I mean,
Remember Atlas? our favorite Atlas.
Oh yeah,
from
the walking robot that like walks through the yeah.
Kind of walking.
You, like, and they just beat the shit out of him.
Yeah,
and
they put the box. He had to pick up the box.
oh my god, if they had robots during the opening, Japan's gonna have the coolest
gotta.
opening ceremony ever.
Yeah.
If I just had like a dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee, I'd be like,
Doom.
wow, that would be great.
Now that I think about it, when London opened their Summer Olympics, or when they received like the, you know, they passed the torch to London to do it, they had like James Bond, and they had
Yeah.
like, I think they had Mr. Bean, and like they have like a couple other characters. So I guess like thinking about it now, it's not that weird. But we want to throw it to you guys. Like, is this the biggest cultural impact of video games thus far? And I'm very excited to see how they integrate other characters.
Fun fact,
Mm-hmm.
my uncle played at the Sydney closing Olympics.
Hey!
I got a fun fact too. My aunt and uncle both took home bronze medals in the Olympics. My my aunt for diving in 1968.
Diving so hard.
And my uncle for water polo.
Did they meet when they were training?
I think they did.
That's so cool.
I didn't inherit any of the sports genes though, unfortunately.
All right,
Okay.
but we have another story. We got 2 more stories.
My
There you
turn.
go.
Wow, let me tell you about Warner Brothers' blatant cash grab, or is it? They're releasing the Lord of the Rings / Hobbit $800 box set, and I think that this could be perceived as extreme measures for Warner Brothers to make some much needed money, and they're going to try and convince the die-hard fans to give it to them. So this is the 6-film Middle-earth collection, and it was introduced by Dominic Monaghan, no less, who played Merry in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Now it boasts that this is the first time that the 2 trilogies are bundled together. But what I don't understand is why it's $800. $800. That's someone's rent. That was this phone. $800 is a lot of
For
money.
a couple car payments.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. I could go home on $800 if there was a timed sale that I was meticulously searching for.
Very specific.
So, what do you get? You get 30 discs of extended edition of movies. Basically, Dominic was like, this is how Peter Jackson wanted you to watch the films, which are presented in leather-bound books incorporated by artwork of fan favorite scenes. And it also comes in this bookcase, which you get to keep. Cool.
Like a lot of
A
like.
bookcase, not
Like a
yay
shelf?
by yay. It's just a shelf.
Oh, okay.
With that, you get a replica of Bilbo Baggins' book, which contains all the vast artwork from the films, and you get 2 maps of Middle-earth. Love maps.
you need 2 of them.
Yeah.
Love maps.
Love,
Love
Well,
love
there's
me
2
a
different
map.
trilogies, you know.
Oh, okay.
And then there's more fan favorite scenes happening from both of those trilogies. There was a 2-minute presentation, and what they did is tell you when it was available, but not the price. Probably because it's $800. Now, what's interesting, if you were inclined on that same day, November 1st, you can actually buy the extended versions of The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings on Blu-ray for $125.
Ooh.
Actually, I think you can do that right now. You can jump onto Amazon for $125. You can get all the extended, which is the 30 discs.
That seems
perfectly
like
rolled
that's
up.
not $800.
No, there's a $675 difference. So all I'm thinking is how it's packaged, the shelf, and some artwork in a book.
And the leather. You're paying for the leather.
Well,
That's
I
what
mean,
I do.
I'm not even convinced it's really leather.
No, of course not.
So I just don't think that in this current day and age where everything is a download and a link, not even like an MP4, like you don't actually physically put discs in anymore. These computers don't even have a disc.
I know, that was actually a
slot.
big disappointment when I got
So
it.
why are they selling it for $800? I think the price is insulting. You can actually get the theatrical cuts of all 6 of them for $69 on Blu-ray and $32 just on DVD if you don't care about the price.
That's a big difference.
The theatrical cut obviously isn't the 30 discs, but that's
Yeah.
still $125. This is a huge markup, and I think it's personally a little insulting. Do you think they'll sell any? And my question for all of you, is this a blatant cash grab from Warner Brothers?
Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
Yes.
I feel like they could have gone a much better route if they were gonna charge $800. Put a ring in it. Like you could buy a really nice replica ring for $600, and that would make people happy. And that seems like such an obvious answer.
Then you should have put a ring on it.
Yes.
That's what
Instead
she
of
was
like
saying.
a shelf. Nobody wants a shelf.
Peter Jackson designed the shelf, but still no one gives a
What the
shit.
hell? What's he doing, man?
Why did he design the shelf? Who
What?
like thought this was a good idea? Who okayed this?
Warner Brothers. And Sam, when I mentioned this story
Yeah.
to you, you had a fun point.
No,
to make.
this year hasn't been the kindest to Warner Brothers. Also,
Yeah.
the open letter that came out last week, where a previous employee spoke about how they're just kind of hemorrhaging money and they're cutting they're just cutting like giant chunks of their company and just letting everybody go. It's like, okay, we'll just make a box set. Like, what's the thing that's working in our company? This is. So we'll go ahead and just push this out the door and see what
We've
fans
never
will
put
buy.
them together yet.
Yeah, but why haven't they also, and why would they do it in this kind of bundle? Like, why would they do this? Also,
Wait, what haven't we sold yet? The artwork. The artwork.
Yeah.
Pete, get us a shelf.
the
man.
biggest thing though, you're right. Why the fuck isn't there a ring in there?
To me, it
isn't
seems
that the whole
like
point?
That's the whole
Lord
arc
of the-
and premise of the
Shelves.
story.
Yeah, Lord of the Shelves.
If it is a blatant cash grab, which let's be honest, it definitely is, it seems like for what you're getting, it probably doesn't cost that much for them to make. And so they're probably just being like, hey, this is like inexpensive for us to make, let's charge
But it's
a lot of money.
collectible.
Yeah, so
That's
it's a
all they're
collectible.
doing.
Is
If you're a fan, you'll buy it.
Is there like a limited
I
amount
don't
or
even
something?
think there is.
That's
And
so
honestly,
silly.
let's be honest, the fact that Dominic Monaghan is doing the presentation for it, I think there's a contractual obligation from his contract in 2001
Yeah,
that
he's
said
like-
that he had to do any promotion.
He missed one fan event and he's like, oh, we'll get you. He's like, you're gonna unbox in this weird warehouse we have downtown LA. Go ahead and open this box up.
I put the tweet up on SourceFed at SourceFedNERD, and I think we're like 200 away from 100,000 followers on SourceFedNERD, so that's
Hell
pretty
yeah.
cool. Get on there.
Get it.
I said, would you pay $800 for this 30-disc Middle Earth collection? And there was a resounding no. In fact, Swan Benson at SwanJR85 said, nope, a million times nope. It's absurd to think that they expect people to pay money for that.
Now, here's the thing. People will.
Yeah.
People will buy this. That is for sure. Because there was an app that came out a few years ago on, it was called the like Rich app or something like that, and the app was $99. It was
It was just to show that you had the app,
Yep.
right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
You buy it
What?
and it doesn't do anything. It was just a status thing, and at least like 10 people bought it.
That's so
And
dumb.
I'm pretty sure it wasn't $99. There's another one which I did a story
Way
on.
more
a long time-
expensive?
Yeah, like it was like $10,000.
Jesus.
Just to show that you had it. Mark Koschwitz has said, at Koshma, said, I'd rather use that money for a trip to Hobbiton in New Zealand.
Yeah.
That's another thing.
Yeah.
They should have put a double pass to Hobbiton in there as well. There's so many things that they could have done better and more value for money. That's just honestly burning cash. And you see, like, where are you going to put a damn shelf? Oh, nice shelf. Oh, let me show you my 30
I mean,
disc.
if it's a collector, you're gonna make room for that. If you bought
I
that,
think
you'd
that
make-
If you, if
Yeah.
you bought that, you give a shit
Yeah.
about it.
I think that if you really are a collector, you would have done it already. You're not
You would have
waiting.
made
Yeah.
that shelf yourself.
That's it.
And
This
Let
is
me
a
ask
little
you this.
bit late.
Do you think that if this had been announced at Comic-Con as like an exclusive, people would have gone for it?
I think that
That would
would
have
have
made more sense.
yeah, that would have
think
made a lot
so.
more sense. I guess they weren't done making the shelf in time for Comic-Con to bring it or something.
Come on, Pete. We need a show. It's honestly a foot wide. What can you do?
All right, guys, in the comments down below, let us know. There's got to be one of you that will buy this, and you have to write down your best argument as to why you would buy
Why
Give
this.
us
you
your
would
money
Yeah.
instead. Just
Yeah.
send us the money
That would
and
be
we'll
cool.
make you a shelf.
We'll make you
Aw.
the best. We'll make you a bunch of shelves.
At Declan Harron said every single penny.
There you go.
He would put
Wow.
towards that.
There are
defi-
people.
yeah. I mean, I just don't think I would do it.
Fair enough. I
But
don't
I'm
think
not
I would
knocking
either.
people that would.
I
there
don't
you
have
go.
$800.
Yeah, throw it something like that. No, I don't either. But if you were like, hey, I can build you a Flash suit for $800, yeah, in a heartbeat, I'd buy that. But speaking of superheroes, because I always talk about those, I'm going to
Get
come to my last
out.
story of the day. I'm going to talk about Zendaya possibly playing Mary Jane Watson, because over the weekend a rumor broke saying this, and people obviously took to social media to talk about it. They
Flipped.
Flip, thank you so much. It's not been confirmed nor denied by Marvel, but that doesn't stop us from even just putting our 2 cents in. Thankfully, most of the responses were positive. People were
Hey,
excited about
I
it.
have the internet. I have opinions, and everyone needs to know them.
Welcome to SourceFedNERD. But there were a lot of people who opposed it. Many individuals cited Zendaya's acting abilities, because mainly she's done Disney Channel work before this. I don't know, stay positive, goddammit.
Whatever.
She'll do great.
She'll get an acting coach. It's like it's a big budget movie. You think that she wouldn't have a coach on that?
You don't
That's
think
such a
every
big
actor
waste.
has one? Yeah.
Guys, Mary Jane Watson's always been white and had red hair.
No,
they're saying.
That's
Yes.
what they're saying. That's what the other argument is saying. But here I actually have a few tweets that I'd like to read. First up from Jason Bergkamp. Since Mary Jane is being played by a black woman, can MLK be played by a white man and a next movie about him?
Technically, Martin Luther King was a real person, whereas Mary Jane Watson's a fictional character. I mean, just to poke a hole in that argument.
Yeah, right?
Man,
This is-
that's so dumb.
Yeah, real,
That's so
real dumb. And then another tweet from Kay at the Drake Swifey. I love Zendaya. I'm sure she'll be great, but red hair was canon in every MJ appearance. This feels like bad casting aesthetically. That's still kind of racist if we're gonna be honest.
Aesthetically.
Yeah, but
Hold on, there's a
That's
picture of her with red hair.
there's a picture of her with red hair.
Solved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead and Google Zendaya red hair. She's
got
done
it.
it before,
She's done
and
it.
she looks great, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But I wanted to specifically read a snippet of James Gunn's post on Facebook. He likes to always come out.
He's directing it, huh?
No, that's Guardians of the
No, he
Galaxy.
just likes to have opinions on things.
Oh, I thought someone was making him direct No.
No.
Man.
It's okay. No. But here's a little snippet that I wanted to read. Whatever the case, if we're going to continue to make movies based on almost all white heroes and supporting characters from the comics of the last century, we're going to have to get used to them being more reflective of our diverse present world. Duh. Perhaps we can be open to the idea that although some may not initially match how we personally conceive of character, we can be, and often are, happily surprised. I mean,
a couple of times this has happened in the media. This is why J.J. Abrams came out and said, guess what? Ratioly, within a ratio, there has to be gay people in the galactic universe. So of course there's going to be a gay character eventually in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Deal with it. When Hermione in the play was cast black,
Yeah.
everyone flipped. But it's like, just because that was a movie doesn't mean the play adaptation can have a different race playing a character.
And these are characters also whose identity and backstory is not tied to them being white. Like Mary Jane, she doesn't have a backstory that involves her being a white chick, and also that'd be a really shitty story.
yeah, what are we gonna learn
What
from
was
that?
the story?
My question to you guys is, why do we keep seeing these types of negative reactions? Because we saw them with Michael B. Jordan when he was cast as the Human Torch, and regardless of how that movie performed, he was going to knock it out of the park regardless of whatever script you gave him, because he's an awesome actor.
Yeah.
Same thing happened with Star Wars. You brought it up with when I'm blanking on the actor's name, played Finn in Star Wars Force
Boyega.
Awakens. Thank you so much. But like, he was great in the movie. He was one of my favorite parts, at least. But it's just disappointing to see that people are taking time out of their day to go to social media to shout from the rooftops.
The
that
difference
they-
with Finn and John Boyega, I don't think you can compare that one because he's a brand new character.
He
People were
is.
just like, oh, you're
But they were
trying
tying
to-
it back to the stormtroopers, that they were like clones and whatnot.
Ah, touche. I
Mm-hmm.
forgot all about that.
We were talking about this before the show, and I think that it's so dumb when people make complaints like this, because if you were complaining that Mary Jane isn't going to be white or that somebody dies, you don't read comics that often, because people who read comics know that every couple of years they change it up just to change it up. Like Captain America, for example, and Hail Hydra. Like, that's just, it is an absolute shakeup just to have people buy the comics. That's fine. They've always done it. Every superhero has died at some point. It's not an issue. Nothing's precious.
No,
you know?
and also in other stories, like where a creative team gets to do their own take on the character, they'll change the race of the character, and nobody freaks out then. It doesn't matter
They'll
at
change
all.
the gender of the character.
Change the gender.
We've got
Or-
Ironheart, the female Iron Man now.
Oh, Riri, she's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And also, recently I read Wonder Woman Earth 1, and if you guys know anything about Wonder Woman, in the movie, Chris Pine's gonna be playing Steve Trevor, and in that comic, he's black. It's like, it doesn't matter. It's just,
It's a
pick somebody.
version
Yeah.
of a fictional character. But
The
you
biggest
know
thing,
what?
yeah.
To debate both sides and devil's advocate, there are people that are so protective of these characters because they've been reading them for decades, and in their mind, that is how they see the character. And as soon as someone else says, no, it actually looks different now, they're like, well, I'm mad.
That's a nice way to cover up your casual racism by being like, no, it's the characters. I swear I don't just hate black people.
It's like, the biggest thing that also it kind of comes from James Gunn. It's just, usually we're happily surprised when it comes to casting like
Yeah.
this. Obviously they cast him for a reason, so maybe just wait and see, and then you can form an
Yeah,
opinion.
they're casting the best person for the job.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But that's it from us. Guys, answer our questions down below. Why do we keep seeing these kinds of reactions to casting news on the internet?
Do you think that Warner Brothers is blatantly trying to take your cash?
Do you think that Nintendo and anime and the video games in general at the Olympics are the biggest cultural phenomena to happen with video games?
Bam.
And you get it, whatever.
But give this video a like, share it with your friends, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed. Also, tune in this Wednesday, August 24th, for an ultra mega fantastic live stream here on SourceFedNERD to celebrate our march to 1 million subscribers. Thank you guys so much. It's going to be a blast. I'm
We're
very
gonna get
excited
drunk.
for it. We're going to get drunk, promise. But we'll see you kids tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye. Is that okay?
Were you kissing or were you munching?
kissing.
Oh, I was munching.
That's the
There you
same.
are.
It's the same to me.
Hey, Nuts!
Ow!
I didn't touch you.
What the hell?
What
God,
happened? What just
ow!
happened? I didn't touch you.
What the fuck? What?
What happened?
Nothing, you didn't touch me.